everyone, this is Rachel Freak here to talk about art and drawing with you today. Today I'm talking about 5 ways to draw creatively. How do you spell creatively? Creatively, I think. Shut up, I'm dyslexic. Okay, so the point is, the point is that today we're going to be drawing creatively, and I'm going to talk about how we can do that. And I know it's something a lot of people struggle with, and I personally struggle with it all the time. And I always feel like every time I'm drawing something, someone's done this before, someone else could draw it better. It's frustrating. It's done before and been done better is often the thought I get. So I want to talk about how to draw creatively and make it feel like it's your own idea and your own piece, because it is something I struggle with a lot. So the first way I have is scribbling. Y'all like scribbling, she says. Well, I do that all the time. And I don't mean just like scribbling, oh, I'm drawing something badly, scribbling like that. I mean, come in here, just do some really light, loose movements. Draw different shapes and stuff. Just get something weird out. And also get used to the movement of your brush and stuff, or whatever you're probably using. If you're using traditional, your pencil, stuff like that. Get used to the feeling, and then when you look in here and you start to see something. Oh, well, I see this right here. This could be an eye. I start to see that shape. Did you guys see that shape? There's a shape right there. So, oh, that's an eye. And I'll keep going. I'll look a little bit more. I'll start using that shape to create something. Here, this could be hair. This, like that. And you start to get something, down for once. And it's a very organic way to come up with, that looks really weird, but this is a really organic way to come up with an idea for something, original in a face. If you're doing portrait drawings, it's definitely better to come up with your own original face this way compared to Googling pictures of someone and drawing it based off that, because if you're making your own drawing, it's hard to think of a face and create one without a reference sometimes. If you're trying to make something that looks not like a person or like a Google image, you can Google pictures of different people and take certain features and just draw their features. So like do this person's eyes. You Google a picture of this person who has eyes like this, and another person who has a big nose like this. But their eyes, this person's nose comes from someone whose nose is like this, and then eyes like this, because that totally exists. But anyway, you get the message, and you can just use those things to create an image that's organic still, but doesn't look like some particular person. It looks like, you can even do it with pictures of your friends if they give you permission, and yourself if you want to create a character without just Googling pictures of like celebrities or something. You can do something like that. A big fat mouth. Anyway, so the point is, scribbling can bring you a lot of organic shapes as well. So it's also good not just for faces. You can use it to do an entire image. Like, I scribble this out for a little bit, and so this looks like some sort of tilting building to me. I'm like, oh, that's a tilting building. So what does a tilting building tell me? And this looks like dystopia to me then. Immediately I start thinking of a big deserty dystopian scene. This is a road. You know, you can get a lot from just a little bit. You know, you start to like just pick things up. If you allow yourself to think about things in that way, it'll come to you. If you're stuck like by scribbling and you're just like, oh, that's nothing, just work with that shape you have. If you keep scribbling, you don't find anything. Just work with the shape until something comes out of it. You can look at, you know, and then I just saw this shape and I was like, this doesn't look like anything. And you start to try to make it into something, you know, instead of just leaving it, you know, and being stuck. You can try to make that into something. This fucking face. Alright, I shouldn't say that word. Anyway, yeah, so that's a really good way to get an image out, you know. It's good for practice as well, as just trying to practice into thinking creatively. And sometimes it gives you the idea, you know, here's my idea, oh, it's a dystopia, right? And that's the idea I got from this. And then you can go and just do thumbnails and start thinking, okay, so now I want to do a dystopian city. I want to do, you know, and that's not an you know, it's not the most original idea ever, but you can make it original by using the scribble that you did and thinking, well, you know, a city you know, covered in sand isn't the most common dystopia. You know, that's not that common compared to like one that's taken over by forest or just kind of destroyed from like nuclear whatever. That happens a lot. You see that a lot. But, you know, a city covered in desert, and then if, well, let's say this is boring to me. I hate dystopian things. I want a person in here. A lot of people feel that. Like, I can't just do, I mean, I personally feel that way as well. I can't just do an environment, it's too boring, there's no point, you know, something like that. You can always use this to your advantage and create it creates a bit of a, what's the word? A story, a dialogue for your, that's way too big. It creates a bit of a story for your piece then. And creating narrative is like the #1 way to be creative. #1. Ugh, this looks bad. But you know what I mean. You can add a person to this scene. You don't need to feel like once you scribbled, that's all there is. You can add things if you want. Of course. There's no rules. Anyway. So I highly suggest trying that at least. If it doesn't work for you, I still have 4 more other ways. So, so #2. Your interpretation. I can't spell your. Your is with the R-E. Whatever. Interpretation of classics. Yeah, classic themes. So there are a lot of classic themes and stuff, and classic paintings and such. But you can take those classic themes and try to make them your own. And sometimes it takes a little bit of work. This way, it's not necessarily the easiest way to think creatively because it does require creative thinking. You know, unlike the scribbling where something just kind of emerges, taking your interpretation of classic themes and ideas requires thinking a little bit. So let's say a classic thing is a knight. A knight on a horse. Okay. So that's really classic, and you're like, this has been done and done and done and done. What can I add to this? So you start thinking, what do I dislike about what I always see with knights? What is always there? So what's always there is the knight's on the horse. On the horse is white. It's a white horse. The knight is white, you know, racially, usually. which makes sense, I guess, if you're doing like, you know, like realistically, there's probably more, because it's an Anglo thing to begin with, kind of European. I mean, I'm sure there's Spanish knights. You know, there's some other knights, but anyway, it's always happens. There's white people everywhere. Ugh. Anyway, sorry, white people. I'm sorry. I don't mean any offense. It's fine. So, the knight is usually white. They're, you know, in a battle, or on a mountain or a cliff, you know, or on a cliff. How do you spell battle? On a cliff or something like that. These are things that are always like the main things you usually see. If you Google knight, you'll find these. Oh, they're always wearing armor. Kind of needed. Makes sense. I mean, a lot of these things make sense, but the point is, that is not how you spell armor. How do you spell armor? I don't know. Armor? How do I not know how to spell it? I'm sorry, I'm dyslexic. Anyway. So, what you don't, so you take all these things and you're like, okay, so which one of these do I really not want? I don't want him to be on particularly a white horse. He doesn't have to be on the horse. I do want a horse in the image because I'm taking that theme. Is that how you spell horse? I'm taking that theme. I do want the horse. I like horses. Horses are great. So I don't want the horse to be white. And the opposite would then be black, right? But I could do other things. I could do, you know, just like a tawn horse or one of those really like furry looking horses. Do you know which horse I'm talking about, where they have the hooves and they're like furry all around it? Like that. Sort of. But anyway, so let's say I want a black horse. I like black horses. They're pretty black horse. Okay. I don't want my knight to be black. I mean, what? I don't want my knight to be white because it happens over and over and over again. So what kind of knight do I want? And it doesn't have to be a human being. And that's also something you can think about. Why does he have to be human? He could be a lizard knight. He could be a lizard or a cat knight. That sounds really cute. Let's do a cat. It's a cat knight. Okay, so if the cat is a knight, what kind of animal would a cat ride? Let's say it's a dog. So it's a dog horse on a cat. I mean a cat knight on a dog as a horse. And I like the idea that the cat is riding into battle. Now I'm imagining what he would ride into battle against. And I'm thinking a bunch of people. Because he's already riding a dog, and that's really classic. So this cat, you know, cats hate people anyway. So this cat is riding into battle against a person. So I'm scrapping, or a bunch of people. I'm scrapping the cliff, and I'm thinking, since it's just I'm be a little tiny cat, I'll have it be on like a desk or something, or a bookshelf. The top of one, about to jump down to attack. I think one person I think would probably be fine, but he's all dressed up in armor and it'll be really cute. Armor. So I do want the armor. So now I have this idea, and it's not that common. It's really not. You could take this classic idea and you can make it your own. I mean, it's not uncommon to have, you know, animals be humanized and, you know, put into, but this story that I've created with this is really cute and different, and it doesn't have to be, you know, the same thing every single time. So then I would just take that and I would do thumbnails until I like what I see and stuff. Thumbnails are really important for creating something. So here's the bookshelf, here's the cat. I might have to scrap the dog if they're on top of the bookshelf, though. In armor. Just put cat ears. Little cat body. To war! His little paws be holding a little sword. Oh, I'm so delighted. I might actually just do a full piece of this. Anyway, so and then the person would be down here, you know, and then you just work this out. You know, you work out how you want this to look. I want the person to be really frightened or like joking at them. You know, you can think about those things and find something that makes you really happy. Like, and it's not the same thing you see over and over and over again. You know, it's different from other people's. And then you do a bunch of these until you find one that you like. I mean, I'm not particularly happy with this one because it's too centered. The perspective is a little weird, I think, and the dog isn't properly displayed. I would have to figure something out. Anyway, the point is the cat's going to battle against the person. It might be because the person has catnip. That'd be cute. That doesn't look right. But that'd be cute. You know, you can keep thinking of these things until, you know, it's like you have the idea and it's perfect. And you draw it and draw it and draw it until it looks like what you want it to look like, or as close as possible that you can do. And that's really important. You might not be able to do exactly what you want, but if you get the idea and the story and the narrative, the piece will be worthwhile. So, blah, bunch of thoughts. So that's number 2. Number 3. Number 3 is redrawing old pieces. Okay? So there is a big value in this because sometimes you draw something and you think, oh, this is crap, you know, but it was a really good idea, and you ignore it for a while and put a dragon or whatever. Dragon, that looks totally like a dragon, obviously, totally a dragon. Guys, I'm such a great artist. Oh my gee. Where does this go? There. Okay, dragon, whatever. Burning people, whatever. It's a creative idea you made and it looks like crap. You love it, you wanted it to look right, you were really happy with the idea at the time, but you're like, this doesn't look good, and you just throw it away. You might not even have finished it. And so, but if you kept that drawing, and let's say this is a year later, everyone has these drawings. That looks like a 7. You're like a year later, and you can draw a lot better. You're like, yeah, I can draw. Smiley. I don't know. I can draw stuff now. Wee. Happy times. Ignore me. So you think that you can draw now, or at least draw better than before. You can go in there and you find this old piece and you can redraw it and it'd still be the same great idea but just done a lot better. That's a really good way to improve and feel good about what you're doing, because you can look, oh, it's crappy drawing, and you make it better and you feel so much better about what you're doing with yourself. And I know that that's a problem as well with art, is that you feel down on yourself a lot. You know, if you're trying to draw professionally or something and you look at what you're doing, you don't like it, sometimes going back and redrawing something you did a year ago or even like a month ago, and if you improved, it really makes you feel better about what you've done and what you're doing with yourself. So if you ever start feeling like, ugh, I can't do anything, I'm useless, you know, this is what you do. Because it makes you feel better, and when you feel more confident, you can draw more confidently. Anyway, so that's one way, and you can also take a couple of old drawings and combine them. So let's say you have a drawing of, maybe you were just drawing a city scene, and then you have a drawing of a ninja, and they're separate, right? And then, if you combine these two, you have a much better narrative. You know, let's say it's a classic old-style ninja in the city, and you're like, what is he doing? Why is he there? Blah, blah, blah. But it becomes a much better narrative than city scene, ninja. You put those together, you have a lot more to say. You know, the painting comes out a lot better that way if you have something to actually talk about. Or the drawing. It doesn't have to be a painting. But, Yeah, so redrawing and combining pictures can create a lot more story and narrative, and I feel like that's one of the more important things in a drawing. Unless you just like drawing portraits, which is perfectly fine. I mean, there's a lot of story that can happen in a portrait just in the expression and what they're wearing and what their faces are doing and their lighting and everything. That has a lot of narrative as well. It's just not as dynamic, I think, compared to like if you have a full scene, but it can be just as rewarding and just as beautiful and just as interesting to do portraits or character pieces. It's just as good. I personally just like full-sized, well-round, where you have the background and a story and event happening. I love it when events are happening. And anyway, getting off topic. So another thing is, this fourth one is when you're really, really desperate. It's random word generator. If you Google this, you can find like at least 10 different websites that do this, or you can just write down a bunch of words, put it in a bucket, and pick out like 3 or 4 randomly. Make sure you have adjectives as well, like a separate bag for adjectives, because it adds a lot more. So have a couple nouns and a couple adjectives, and then arrange it like if I pulled out, let's say, adjectives and a verb. Probably have a verb in there. So have 2 nouns, 2 adjectives, and 1 verb. That's probably the best balance. Or you could just do 1 noun, 1 adjective, and 1 verb. So I do beauty, like beauty works out sweatily, or that's really lame, but I don't have a random word generator. I'm just pulling things. Or cat dances fearfully. Why? They're scared of dancing. Why is that a thing? But it sounds creative once you get it. Once you pull these things out, and then you can start thinking of an image in your mind. As soon as you do those things, you have those things. You can also use dictionary.com if you want, because that probably works. They always have like the word of the day or something. You can use that. And they have a lot more words, and you can choose adjectives and stuff like that. Dictionary.com probably work. Yeah, so that's probably really, really fun to do that way. That's when you're desperate, because it basically is doing all the work for you. The thought, it's bringing the ideas to your mind, but then you get to decide the composition and the action, how it's working out, and how everything's going. It's up to you for a lot of it. Anyway, that's what you do when you're really, really bored or really struggling for ideas. If you don't have any ideas in your mind, you're frustrated, and all these other techniques aren't working for you, and you just I need something to draw, and I need it, and I need it bad. I need it bad. You could do that. Something else you could do is go on Facebook or any other social media and ask your friends, what should I draw today? And they'll give you suggestions. You just start drawing something. And sometimes, and this is after all these other techniques don't work, sometimes that works. Despite what you think, oh, I can't draw because I don't have any ideas, just get in your sketchbook, or if you draw on the computer like I do, just open up Photoshop and just start drawing, because nothing helps you move your creativity more than exercising your creativity, if that makes sense. Do this, just draw. If it's still not working for you and you're still frustrated, just take a break. Nothing helps better than taking a break. Watch a movie, or read a book, be inspired by something, and then go ahead and try to draw again. But if you're so frustrated by art at this point, just take a break. Don't let it ruin art for you. Don't let art ruin art for you. And that's happened to me before, and it's happened to me many times actually, because I have all these expectations for what art should be and what I should be and where I should be with my art, and it drives you nuts. You can't always be what you need to be. So just let the drawing happen and see if you can be satisfied by that. Sometimes watching YouTube videos of other people drawing can help, but also it makes you a little influenced by their art style and stuff like that, so just watch out for that. Remember, just drawing sometimes can really loosen things up for you. You know, once you start drawing, you'll remember why you like it. Remember to draw for fun, not just for the, you know, to draw better. Remember, every once in a while, there's plenty of times in which you can practice to work hard and try to improve. Remember, every once in a while, just take a second to draw whatever you want to. Draw what you like. I personally really like just drawing faces. I do it a lot. I'll sit there, and usually women, it's what I draw when I'm not thinking creatively. I'll draw just a person, because for me it's my go-to thing. I almost want to say it's easy, but it's not necessarily the easiest thing to draw. The easiest thing to draw is a cylinder. Yeah, cylinders, or a square. Like, if I was to say that's the easiest thing to draw, it'd be silly, but you know, it's the thing that brings me the most happiness to draw when I don't feel like drawing something difficult, when I don't feel like drawing a full image. I just draw the person making expressions and stuff. Her face is really weird, but and this helps you loosen up your mind a little bit, and then you can, once you've drawn for fun and you've relaxed, you can go back to trying to draw creatively and working on skills. But just remember to take breaks, because if you're stressed, it won't work. Anyway, that's Rachel, and I'm out.